It's 6:20. Now, GPs are speaking out this morning against an NHS England plan to store confidential patient information on a central electronic database, fearing details could eventually be misused by insurers or businesses. But health bosses say it'll improve care and assist research. We're joined now by Dr. Gordon Gance, who is against the scheme. We'll be speaking to him in his surgery in just a moment. And also in the studio, former chair of the Royal College of GPs, Dr. CLARE GERADA, who supports the scheme. First to you, Dr. Gance, tell us why you're against it.
Because most people in the country so far do not realise that their confidential and private information will be taken directly from GPs' computers, not just stored, as you've just said, but actually used as a big database for research purposes and may later be sold on. And none of that information can be properly anonymised, and indeed when it's taken from our surgeries it will not be anonymised when it goes to the Health and Social Care Information Centre.
Okay, Dr. Gance, just briefly, you've opted out all of your patients. I mean, people can opt out on their own, but you've opted out all of yours, and what's been the reaction to that by your bosses?
Well, they've threatened me with remediation, which I take to mean that they're going to withdraw my contract, if they possibly can, on the grounds that I'm apparently breaking the law passed in 2012, which no GPs knew about at the time, because they've said we cannot opt our patients out. Seems to me that one should give one's patients a proper choice, that it should be an opt-in system, not an opt-out system. So if people were automatically opted out first, then they can choose to opt in. I have no problem with that at all.
OK, Dr. Gance, thanks very much for now. What is wrong with that? Why shouldn't people be asked to opt in rather than opt out?
Good morning. Can I just say what this system is? It's actually been in place for 25 years, but just for hospital data. And so what it's doing now, it's including general practice information. So for the first time in the history of the NHS, we're going to be able to link what happens in primary care, what happens in that doctor's GP surgery, with what happens in hospital.
But couldn't you do that with anonymous information?
Right.
Why does it have to be linked to individual patients still?
Right, what happens is it won't be anonymous at one place, which is at the information centre, because you have to link it to the hospital data. So you actually have to make sure that your details in your GP practice are the same person as the details in your hospital. So it will be linked in this, what I call the central computer in the sky, the confidential, secure. It will then be unlinked and what's called pseudo-anonymised when others will use it. And others can only use it with ethical, legal permissions. This isn't just every Tom, Dick and Harry.
Yeah, just explain, though, I mean, what the idea is. I mean, we heard, earlier on this week about the fat map, and all that, and there was controversy over that, but it's about, because there are all sorts of diseases that we are increasingly getting, and presumably it's about that, is it? About how we resource that in 20, 50 years' time?
Absolutely. It is not, and can I repeat, not to be sold to insurance companies.
Well, they can, though, can't they, for
they
profit?
Can't. No, that will be against the law. All this will be used for is within strict ethical and legal parameters to be used for research, so to track disease. If this system had been around 50 years ago, we might have picked up thalidomide earlier than we picked it up.
Just briefly, you say it could be used ethically. Well, that's the same of social security details, and they've been lost. Right. Before.
You're mixing two things up. In the 25 years that this system has been in place, there hasn't been a single breach of information. Of course, anything that's man-made can create man-made errors, but the penalties will be very high. This is a safe system, and it's really important that we don't throw it out because of the general sense of mistrust that's going on at the moment.
Dr. CLARE GERADA, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Now, the traditional notion of till death do us part is being shunned by modern-day couples. New research shows an increasing number of couples are splitting up after just a year of marriage. Tiffany Royce has more.